Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Monday, March 17th. Are investors feeling lucky on this St. Paddy's Day? Markets ended last week with lots of green on Friday during regular trading. All three major indices closed in the green, making up ground from a slump earlier in the week. The Dow jumped 674 points or 1.65%. The S&P 500 soared 117 points or 2.13%. The Nasdaq climbed 451 points or more than 2.5%. Bill, I'm not seeing a lot of green on my screen this morning, so let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.3%, down 0.30. Markets are reacting a little negatively toward those comments from Treasury Secretary Bessent yesterday, where he came out and he said they're not concerned about the recent selling pressure in equities. Kind of reinforces the view that the Trump administration is unlikely to consider markets' reaction to its policies. But, yeah, it's true. But I do kind of feel there's a lot of selling pressure going on because of Friday's gains in the market, because the selling isn't that hard and that heavy. But this morning we get that retail sales data coming out, and I got to tell you, I'm scared of the retail sales report. While it is expected to be positive, I mean, consumer sentiment and what happened during early February has me a little bit concerned for that data when it comes in. Nivida's got their GPU technology conference starting tomorrow. Over the weekend, there was a lack of tariff developments or tariff talk. That April 2nd date is coming closer. Maybe there could be some changes. We'll have to wait and see. But listen, in the week ahead, we got a Fed meeting. We get the Federal Reserve policy meeting, and Fed officials are going to be updating that the dot plot estimates on the forward path of interest rates. And markets are now pricing in 3 rate cuts. In the last dot plot that came out in December, they priced in 2. President Trump's going to be speaking to Russian President Vladimir Putin tomorrow on the Ukraine war. China came out, yesterday, and they're preparing a new stimulus announcement. That's kind of positive. That helped move some markets. And then we're kind of taking a look over at the global equities, and we're seeing what's happening in Europe this morning. And we do have the DAX up by 38 points or 0.17%. I mean, tomorrow they got that big spending vote in Germany, which is going to exempt defense spending from the debt limits and establish that infrastructure investment fund. That could be big if that gets passed. London, you're seeing a gain of about 0.12%. Positive action in mining stocks and metal stocks. France is higher by 0.25%. Okay, that's not bad. Then we're taking a quick look over at Asia last night, and we generally saw gains. I mean, the Nikkei finished up 343 points at 0.93%. I mean, they did have some gains on auto stocks. There is a BOJ meeting this week, but they're not expected to raise interest rates at this meeting. Hong Kong, on the other hand, finished higher by 185 points at 0.77%. Consumer stocks, financial stocks moved higher. And, China, the Shanghai composite, rose 0.19%. Markets kind of waiting on, those additional stimulus announcements. China did unveil a special action plan, as they called it, looking to revive consumption and stabilize equities and real estate markets. We'll get more details on that during the week. And then we're taking a look at oil, because oil is trading higher. Oil, WTI is up 1.37% to $68.10 a barrel, and Brent is trading at $71.49 a barrel, up 1.28%. Key developments, China's plan to boost domestic consumption, and the elevated tensions in the Middle East, because the U.S. launched a wave of airstrikes against Houthi targets after the group vowed to resume resume attacks on ships doing shipping in the Red Sea. So they unleashed an attack, and that's causing tensions to rise. That's causing prices to rise. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
Bill, you're really following a little bit of everything this morning. As we heard there in your opening, you're following political news, geopolitical news. You're following earnings action, economic events. That Fed meeting is coming up, as you mentioned, throughout the week. So you're really following a lot of different areas of news. And it becomes important to do that to try to anticipate the trading day ahead. And you're doing this all using your NewsWare. One of those areas you check every morning and throughout the week is earnings action. So on this Monday, let's start there. Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
Sure. I mean, there's only one really that are scientific applications, ticker SAIC, Sam, Apple, India, Charlie. They beat by 48 cents, but it was done on lower revenue. But you look at the stock this morning, it's trading higher by 9.31%. So markets likes those numbers. Upcoming, nothing this afternoon really. Tomorrow morning, Tencent Holdings, Tencent Musical Entertainment Group. EPS is 19 cents. Expected move is 8.13%. And KE Holdings at BEKE, Boy Edward, Kilo Edward, their EPS is 26 cents. Expected move is 8.24% when they release. But that's all I have for you in terms of earnings action, Emily.
And one area that definitely will have some more action this week are those economic events, including at least one main report. You already gave us a preview to look out for today. So let's get to the economic events. Bill, what's going on there?
Okay, let's talk about it. At 8:30 a.m., we get the retail sales figures. Also at 8:30, get the Empire State Manufacturing Index. And then at 2 p.m., that Atlanta Fed GDP Now is coming out with an update. That could be interesting. The retail sales, I mean, the consensus estimate is 0.7% month over month. Remember in January, that number came in negative 0.9%. And then you look at the sentiment data, Friday sentiment data came in weaker than expected, and retailers have warned that February got off to a soft start thanks to a combination of cold weather, delayed tax refunds, and a growing sense of consumer uncertainty about the economic climate. I wouldn't be surprised if it came in weaker than the 0.7%. It could still be positive, but 0.7 seems a little bit high for me. But we'll have to wait and see as that number comes out 1 hour before the opening bell this morning, Emily.
And Bill, as that number comes out, you will see it as it hits the tape because you have that economic alert set up on your NewsWare. You also have a NewsWare alert set up for other types of news. You're following the earnings action, the political news, the economic events, Fed action, and you're still following other types of news, especially corporate news. You're following different stocks. You group stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. You also group together news like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. Also, you can track this information in real time. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets on this Monday?
I'm doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 24 lower. I got 6 higher. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. They're kind of mixed. Seeing gains in Amazon, Meta, and Netflix, Apple, Google, Tesla are all trading lower. Some news behind the tape, like Apple. Apple's facing credibility issues. Let's face it. They advertise their new iPhone with these, Siri AI features that aren't there. And they're coming, they're soon to be, they're around the corner, but they're not there. So, a little bit of a credibility issue. That's why Apple's kind of trading a little lower this morning. There's a story out there about how Google and Amazon and Microsoft are the early winners in that AI boom, because, these are the cloud companies that rent out servers, and they got the servers. So that AI spend that they did was worth it for them, it looks like. Tesla, they're launching a 1-month free trial of their fully self-driving software, automated driving software. I mean, Tesla's just weak this morning. It's down 1.28%. Now we're looking at some Dow Jones stocks. This is kind of Disney and Netflix. I mean, the streaming services, they're courting YouTube content providers and their legions of fans. I mean, there's this Mr. Beast event that's going on in Amazon Prime that is, really paying off for them because apparently it's cheap to produce and it made them a lot of money. So now that, the other streaming services are jumping in, looking to see what other types of content they can, create and create that content off of. So, could be interesting. Nvidia, I just want to keep pointing out their CEO is going to be delivering that keynote speech at the GPU Tech Conference tomorrow, 1 p.m. Apple's iPhone 17 Air to lay the foundation for future devices. Supposedly it's going to be at the same price. Got to keep an eye on that. In terms of merger news, we're talking AstraZeneca, ticker AZN, Apple, Zebra, Nancy. They're buying a Belgian firm, Esto Biotech, really to boost their cell therapy portfolio. But the deal could be worth up to $1 billion, it looks like. In terms of guidance news, SAIC, Sam Apple, India, Charlie, they raised their full year 2026 adjusted EPS to $9.10 to $9.30. Street estimate had it at $9.08. So that's an uptick, nice uptick. What else do we have here? In terms of shareholders or events going on, HPQ, Henry Paul Quinton, HP Amplify conference. That starts today where the key executives are set to present. Adobe and Nivida, they're also having conferences this week. That could be something. In terms of buyback news, ticker BANC, Boy, Apple, Nancy, Charlie, Bank of California announced a 150 million share repurchasing program this morning. And that's what I have for you. I guess in terms of catalyst events, I guess I could mention Qualcomm. Their CEO is set to meet with Chinese President Xi this week, and Pfizer and FedEx CEOs are also heading to Beijing soon. So that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, you looking for some luck of the Irish today? Where are you looking for green? What's your pick of the day today?
I'm going to go with NVIDIA, Nancy Victor David Apple. I mean, tomorrow that speech by the CEO, it's going to be on watch. I think if there's some weakness today, you got to jump into it because, you're going to see the stock moving higher specifically, tomorrow, later this afternoon and tomorrow morning. And then you look at yesterday's call volume, Friday's call volume, 3.3 million call contracts traded against 1.7 put contracts. That's positive, not 2-to-1, but close. Open interest 11.5 million versus 10.7 million, and major brokers still like the stock. I mean, some of them still have their price targets stay in the $200 range, so that's nice. But for me, I mean, I want to I'm hopefully going to see some weakness. I'm hopefully going to get in, and I'm going to say 121.70, 121.50, 121.70. Some 121.50 to 121.70. That's kind of the range I'm looking to get in at. We'll have to see if that works out, but that's my pick of the day. Nvidia NVDA, as the CEO's got a big speech tomorrow at 1 p.m. Emily.
Nvidia, it is today. March has been a pretty green month for the pick of the day, and hopefully we'll keep that streak going today. We will follow that along with you. And coming up, we will see how Friday's pick of the day worked out when we do a recap on that. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Bread Financial February net loss rate 8.6% versus 8.9% last year. I guess it's semi-positive. UBS auditors issue warnings over banks' financial reporting controls for 2024. Not good. UBS, not good. Affirm shares drop as Clara unveils partnership with Walmart. Ooh, they stole that from Affirm. Yeah, Affirm shares. That's a big loss for them. Target, Home Depot, Walmart, they're really leaning on their Chinese suppliers in an effort to avoid the recent tariff action by the Trump administration. Baidu, ticker BIDU, they launched a new reasoning AI model in a challenge to DeepSeek. Intel's new CEO plots overhaul of manufacturing AI operations. Trump says no exemption on U.S. steel and aluminum tariffs. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, let's do that check-in on Friday's pick of the day before we sign off on this Monday. You did just mention that news about Intel and the CEO's look at overhauling their operations. And this sort of piggybacking off of your pick of the day, which was Taiwan Semiconductor on Friday. And you made that pick following news that the really chip makers were rising after the report that Taiwan Semiconductor interest in the joint venture to run Intel's factory. So sort of like positive momentum surrounding Intel, chip makers, Taiwan Semiconductor. So Bill, how did your call work out?
Worked out. I mean, just look at the numbers. The stock opened up at 172.65, fell down beneath 172, fell down to 171.93, then rallied all the way up to 174.37 and closed at 174.09. And you look at it this morning, TSM's trading 175. So yeah, if you got it at the opening, if you got it at my price, either anyway, you looked at these numbers, you made your 1%. So TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, was a winner on Friday, Emily.
A nice win there, Bill. And again, piggybacking on that action, we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Nvidia pick of the day in the same sector there. And Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning this week at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.